Hey fifth grade, let's jump into lesson 119, which covers finding a whole when a percent is known. Last week we worked with finding a whole when a fraction was known, and so this will be similar, but we'll work with a different strategy this time. Let's jump right into an example. So our question reads, 30% of the tribe were warriors. There were 150 warriors in all. What was the population of the tribe? So we're told that 30% of the tribe equals 150 people, and we're being asked to find how many total people there were. So in order to solve this problem, we can translate our word problem into an equation. So we're told 30% of the tribe is 150. And whenever we hear the word of, we should always think of multiplication. So 30% of T for the total number of people in the tribe equals 150 people. So 30% of the tribe equals 150. That's how we can translate it into an equation. From here, we can convert our percent into a decimal. So we have 3/10 times t equals 150, and we solve for t by dividing 150 by 3/10, which would give us 500 people. So by translating our word problem into an equation, we're able to find that the total number of people is 500. Example number 1 reads, 30% of what number is 120? We're going to approach this problem exactly the same way we did the longer word problem. We'll start by translating it into an equation. So 30% of, we have 30%, and of always tells us that we're multiplying. Of what number, so this is what we're looking for, we'll represent it with an n, is 120. So some keywords that you're looking for are the of, that tells you you're multiplying, and the is tells you that you have an equal sign. So 30% of what number is 120. From here, we can convert our 30% to a decimal, just like we did before. So then we have 3/10 times n equals 120, and we'll solve it exactly the same way with 120 divided by 3/10. In order to solve this, we need to move our decimal place over once, which means we also need to move our decimal place over once here as well. So now it's 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 goes into 0 0 times. 3 goes into 0 another 0 times, so 30% of 400 is 120. That's our missing number n. Example number 2 reads, 16 is 25% of what number? So this might look a little tricky at first because our words are in a different order, but we're going to translate it word for word just like we did the other examples. So first we have 16, and we'll just write it just the way it is. Is tells us we have an equal sign, so 16 equals 25%. Of tells us we multiply. And what number is the missing number, so we'll represent it with n. From here, we can change it to make it a little bit easier to work with. We know that 25% could be represented by the decimal number 25 hundredths, or it could be represented by the fraction 1/4. So let's work with it as a fraction this time. So we know that 16 equals 1/4 of n, or 1/4 times n. So we can solve this by dividing 16 divided by 1/4 equals n. And we know that that would change to 16 over 1 times 4 over 1 equals n. So we have 16 times 4, so 6 times 4 is 24, we'll carry the 2, and 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 64, so n equals 64. 16 is 25% of 64. So that gives you another strategy to work with. You can choose to either change it to a decimal number or a fraction, whichever one will make the math easier for you to do. So to review, when you're finding a whole number, when you're given a percent, first you want to translate the question into an equation, And then you want to solve for the missing number by dividing.